Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here with another Master Duel video for you. And guys, today is the day that the new packs are out, the new cards are out, and Baronne de Fleur has joined our Adamancipator deck. As I mentioned in my deck profile update at the beginning of the season, as soon as this card dropped, I was just going to immediately swoop in and add her right to the deck. And that's exactly what I've done. It's funny, I literally rushed home from work as fast as I could because I knew the cards are out, the packs are out, and I needed to get this out ASAP. So I think I might even just forego my traditional editing a little bit in this one, and just in the interest of getting this out as quickly as possible. So yeah, we've got Baronne de Fleur now in our Adamancipator deck, and I've already taken her for a couple of test spins. We're going to see a game actually where she comes in very, very good handy, and is pretty much the reason we're able to win the game flat out. Not even just for as part of our end board, but as a combo extender. One of the things that I've seen said about this card, Baronne de Fleur, in Adamancipators in particular, is I've seen people say, like, oh, is Baronne even going to be that great in Adamancipators, right? Because, you know, what is she? She's another Omni-Negate, and this deck already has a ton of negates. It ends on negates. Why would you need another card in your extra deck that negates? Well, there's a couple of reasons, actually, that Baronne is still very, very good. For one, this first effect of being able to destroy any card on the field once per turn. Of course, obviously, it's only during your turn, but still a very powerful effect, and it still makes Baronne a very, very good card for going second, which is, I think, one of the main things that people aren't really considering about Baronne de Fleur, and how she helps Adamancipators, right? Because, yeah, I mean, she's quote-unquote just another Omni-Negate, which, by the way, that argument in of itself, like, how is another Omni-Negate on our board not make us more powerful? You know what I mean? I mean, I understand what people are saying, that they're basically saying that Baronne de Fleur adds to the strengths of Adamancipator, but doesn't take away from the weaknesses. But in ways she does, and as I just mentioned, she helps us go second with not only her ability to destroy cards, but also being able to proactively go into an Omni-Negate that is also like a good threat. You know, after your opponent's already gone first, is a very, very powerful thing for us to be able to do now. Because, you know, before, if we wanted to set up, like, we have to set up our negates, right? Like, we have to set up the Lincoln Graveyard for Borreload Savage Dragon. To an extent, we have to set up Appaloosa, and Appaloosa really is a card that is part of a setup. Like, she can negate, but she can only negate reactively. She is not a very good, like, proactive negation card to try to go into if your opponent's gone first, which is obviously not the case for Baronne de Fleur. Having good stats, the ability to Omni-Negate without any conditions attached, and also being able to just destroy a card in the field. And, lest we forget that during the standby phase, if you've got something in your graveyard you'd rather have, you can just go ahead and grab that. So, like, yeah, she's a very, very, very powerful card. But before I keep gushing about how good Baronne de Fleur is, let's actually go over our Adamancipator list here real quick. The more observant among you might have already noticed that I actually haven't really changed anything much at all. I haven't changed anything at all in the main deck, and the only thing I've changed in the extra deck is I've dropped the Herald of the Arclight for Baronne de Fleur. So let's go through the list card by card, and then I'll go ahead and talk about a little bit of these decisions that I've made. A little bit about these decisions I've made, rather. Heading up here at the list, we've got Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, we have 3 Maxx, 1 Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion, 2 Doki Doki, 1 Prank-Kids Dropsies, 3 Adamancipator Seeker, 3 Adamancipator Researcher, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, we've got a Gigantes, 3 Koa'ki Mirror Guardian, 1 Tackle Crusader, 3 Prank-Kids Rocksies, 3 Adamancipator Analyzer, 3 Koa'ki Mirror Supplier, 3 Block Dragon, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Lightning Storm, 2 Called by the Grave, and 2 Forbidden Droplet. And then down here in the extra deck, we've got an Adamancipator Risen Raptite, Borreload Savage Dragon, Adamancipator Risen Dragite, good old Baronne de Fleur. We've got Gallant Granite, Leak Spider, Prank-Kids Meow Meow Moo, Crystron Halki Fibrax, Nightmare Phoenix, Prank-Kids Dodo Doodle Doo, IP Masquerena, Union Carrier, Nightmare Unicorn, Appaloosa, and of course Access Code Talker. So as far as replacing Herald of the Arclight with Baronne de Fleur, I don't know 100% if that's the right call yet. It's one I was thinking about for a little while leading up to the deck, and I found for a long time I wasn't really making Herald of Arclight. But of course, in the days leading up to this deck, or these packs actually coming out, I started to, I made some plays here and there where Herald actually, either enabled me to continue playing by getting a level 4, letting me go into Gallant Granite, or there was a time where I set up Herald of Arclight as an Omni Negate while I comboed for the rest of my board. So maybe not necessary, obviously I didn't know my opponent's hand, but definitely secured my ability to combo. So I'm not 100% sure if I want Herald of the Arclight yet out yet. The other card I was kind of thinking about kicking is Nightmare Phoenix. I do make it a little bit more often than Herald, but really, I don't go into it too often, unless I'm going second, which, as I mentioned earlier, Baron de Fleur already helps us out with, or I just have a weird, I don't know. It's just, like I said, I've not really made Herald of the Arclight or Nightmare Phoenix that much. I've just made Nightmare Phoenix a couple more times than Herald, which is the main reason why I kept it in the extra deck. So, like I mentioned earlier, and as I've just shown you, Baron de Fleur is in fact the only card we've added to this deck so far. I'm not saying that's going to be the case permanently going forward, but I did think about it a bit going into this new pack coming out, because I saw a lot of people talking about adding Scythe to Adamancipators as well as Baron de Fleur. And perhaps there are more interactions with Scythe that I'm not aware of that could be very good. I mean, obviously I'm aware Baron can pop Scythe and then your opponent can't summon during the extra deck, or summon from the extra deck. Here's my thing though, we've already got an extra deck lock, and in my opinion, it's one that's even better than Scythe, and that's Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, right? Dragon Buster Destruction Sword comes attached to an Omni Negate, so is a continuous effect, so it's not susceptible to effect negation, kind of the same way that Scythe is, I think. Because I'm pretty sure Scythe is an activated effect, right? I could actually even just... Hang on, let me... Oops. Let's see. Artifact Scythe. Here we go. Discard a special summon during your opponent's turn. Yeah, so it is an activated effect. So, being a continuous effect, its Dragon Buster Destruction Sword is not prone to effect and negation the same way Scythe is. Buster Sword, I mean, you could make an argument also that Buster Sword being a continuous effect is better because it stays around longer, although to be fair, I don't really consider that much of a point because usually you only need one turn of not letting your opponent summon from the extra deck with Scythe, and really, as soon as this comes out, your opponent never, and this is successfully equipped, your opponent usually doesn't, live more than one turn anyway, so I consider that a bit of a moot point. I will grant that. The other thing too is that, I've already set up our deck in a way where our Dragon Buster Destruction Sword is very searchable with Union Carrier. I mean, I guess you could just Union Carrier to equipped Artifact Scythe. Is that actually how you pull it out of the deck? I hadn't actually thought about that until just now. During your opponent's turn, if this special... No, it has to be set and destroyed in the spell. So that doesn't work with Baron de Fleur. I mean, not if you Union Carrier it out, because then the Artifact Scythe is face up in the spell trap zone and not set. So that actually doesn't work. Okay, I didn't think it did. I just couldn't remember exactly why. But yeah, no. So we already have a way to turbo out our X, and I understand that there are cards you could include that could help you turbo out Scythe, but I just feel like randomly jamming Scythe in is not the right call. If I just like taking something techie out like Tackle Crusader or Nibiru to add in Scythe, to Adamancipator, I guess to this build specifically, is not the right call. And I think adding more things to make Scythe more searchable is just going to hamper the rest of our deck and make it overall less consistent. So literally the only card I've added as of Baron being released is Baronne herself. Once again, I don't really feel the need to try to make room for Scythe, although again, to be fair, I haven't done a whole lot of research on it. I've just more seen people talk about it, and I did stop and think okay, is there a feasible way that we can actually add the Artifact Scythe into the deck and maybe some cards that could help search it out? And I couldn't come up with anything off the top of my head. That said, if you guys in the comments have ideas about how to include Scythe in this deck and incorporate it, do feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm always open to hearing from you about this kind of thing. Really, any decks in general that include Scythe and Baron, I'm interested to know about, obviously because I've already gone ahead and crafted the Baron, and obviously she's really good with Scythe. And honestly, I you know, I haven't been playing in like the TCG, so, you know, I've only come back to Master Duel, and I've exclusively been playing Master Duel. So in that regard, I am a bit behind some other people in knowing what kinds of decks these cards go in, how they synergize, what the best way to use them is, etc., etc. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I do actually have a replay saved from, it's funny, I got in like as many test games as I could, because I was like, if I could get 2, maybe even 3 solid replays where I drop Baronne and she's really useful in the game, I'd totally be down for that. Or even just a replay where I can show a turn 1 combo where you can work Baronne in. But the problem, this is a very first world problem, by the way. The problem with Adamancipators is that as soon as you successfully start to combo, your opponent just concedes. Like, it's funny because people talk about, you know, oh, this deck always taking its 5-6 minute turns, but it's like, yeah, in theory, but in practice, like, your turns are like 40 seconds if you combo, because your opponent just concedes. So, even though that's obviously, like I said, a very first world problem, it was a problem for me, because I'm like, I need at least one game where I can show off Baronne de Fleur. And I did manage to get one game with Baronne. And actually, like I said, it was a very good game to feature her in, because it's a game where she wasn't just added to the end as another negation. Like, having Baronne de Fleur extra deck actually enabled us to keep comboing in this example that I'm about to show you. So let's go ahead and move right over to that. Once again, I'm trying to get this video out like as quickly as possible, so I'm not even going to bother. Like, normally I do my, you know, neat little blur wipe transition in the process of doing this, but also I haven't shown off my AD in a while, so if you feel like following me on Master Duel, go ahead and do that. But no, okay, here it is. We have this game against this game just happened, I don't even remember the deck. It was Sky Striker. Yeah, we actually managed to play against Sky Striker, and this is not only just a good game where I got to play Baronne, I think it's just a solid game in general. So let's go ahead and just dive right into it. Yeah, actually, I'm really eager to show you guys this video, because like I said, I am very, very I'm just glad I got, like I said, at least one game where I could show off Baronne and everything she could do. Okay, so we are actually going second in this game. As I mentioned earlier, Baronne can help going second. We've got a Seeker, you know, a couple of Roxies, Lightning Storm, and of course the good old Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. Not so good in our opening hand, but hey, what can you do? Our opponent's going to lead with Desires. Obviously, I don't have much in the way of interaction with this hand, so sure enough, they then immobilize into Ray, summon the Ray, and then go into Shizuku. Now, since my opponent did choose to go first, they don't get to set up the Hayate, sending a Sky Striker spell, you know, going into Kagiri, and then going into... Actually, now that I think about it, my opponent could have gone into Kagiri and got another Engage search if they wanted. I mean, I guess it's important to use your Kagiri wisely, so maybe they wanted to save it for later, but I don't know why you wouldn't just get into... Like, they could have searched like a Widow Anchor here or something. In addition to the Sky Striker Ray. So maybe they just wanted to save the Kagiri for later to get back the Engage when they could search and draw, which is, to be fair, probably the smarter play most of the time, but here they're just going to Shizuku and set 1 and pass. At the end phase, Shizuku is going to add multi-roll. So, okay, I'm thinking, you know, this is definitely pretty good for me. Obviously, we much prefer to go first than second, but this hand is not too bad. I can go ahead and drop Lightning Storm, nuke the back row, which actually turned out to be a bluffed Afterburners, right? Yeah, Afterburners. I doubted the name of the card for a second there. So I'm going to go ahead and normal summon Seeker, and as you can see, my opponent reveals the dreaded Maximum C. I mean, Maxx C. I always say Maximum as if Max is a shortened name. Maybe it is. I don't know. In any case, most of the time, obviously, that's going to hinder us from really being able to do anything. However, since we're going second, we have the ability to attack, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I also was just like, I just need to get a replay where I summon Baronne, like ASAP. So I was like, I'm just gonna push through it. Normally, I don't know actually. To be honest, I will say that I tend not to push through Maxx C as often as I probably should, especially with this deck. Like if you have the attack in. Here's the problem though, and I guess we'll see this as it plays out. There's always a threat of Nibiru or Ash or something to just stop your plays with Maxx C, and then you're just fucked. So normally I would actually probably think more about stopping, but here I just decided to go for it. I'm like, whatever. I want to summon this Baronne. I'm going to activate Seeker's effect. I don't even care if you drop a Maxx C. Plus, I was also reasonably confident in my ability to win here as well. especially at this part, at this stage here. So when I revealed the Doki Doki with Seeker, I actually did debate a little bit if I really should activate Seeker, and I was like, I'll just activate Seeker's effect and we'll see what happens. First card I revealed, I'm pretty sure it was the first anyway, was Doki Doki, and from there I'm like, okay, I know for a fact now that I can combo out even under this Maxx, because I knew I could Doki Doki to discard the Prank-Kids Rocksies to summon the Koa'ki Guardian. Then from there I could go into Crystron Halki Fibrax, and from that point, given that I already have the Block Dragon in my hand, like I can just combo out. Like from there I know for a fact I can combo out while still maintaining the Koa'ki Guardian. This is important because, as I mentioned earlier, you know, you've got stuff like Nibiru is especially the big threat. And it's why I mentioned in earlier videos, if you want to check out, it's like, I think my Tri-Brigade videos is where I mentioned it, my new Tri-Brigade deck profile, which just came out yesterday, I believe, if this is going out today. Anyway, yeah, so I mentioned in that video that it's really important for you to have some kind of threat to get off of Maxx. Like, if your opponent is just going to say, all right, you Maxx'd me, I'll just summon out everything and attack for game. Like, it doesn't do you any good to not have anything in your deck that can stop your opponent from doing that, which is why I think more decks, not all, definitely not all, but more decks that are playing 3 Maxx should be playing at least 1 Nibiru. And that is the reason why. So, and that's also the reason, again, why I got the Guardian here, was to go ahead and prevent a Nibiru from screwing me over. So we're going to summon Halki Fibrax. We're going to use Halki Fibrax's effect to get out of Lion. And oh, what do you know? It's like I'm psychic or something. Our opponent has a Nibiru. Well, we can definitely go ahead and just Guardian that, because like I mentioned earlier, we set ourselves up for a situation where Nibiru was not going to stop us from getting the game here. So here is where Baronne is very, very important, because at this point, I've got my Crystron Halki Fibrax, and I've got my Mecha Fantasy Soul Lion, and then I've also got the Block Dragon, of course, right? I can banish these 3 from graveyard, or I also had the Koa'ki Guardian. I had 3 things in grave to be able to summon it. Now, normally I would not be in a completely dead scenario here. I could still link and do a link 3, like Appaloosa or Access Code. Appaloosa if I was more concerned about negating, Access Code if I was more concerned about actually pushing for game. And so here's where, in this kind of scenario, you, especially under Maxx, you would really be pressured to like make that decision. But with Baronne, now I can go into her using O-Lion and Block Dragon, and then I kind of have the best of both worlds, right? I've got the Baronne DeFleur out, who's got 3,000 attack points. She can destroy this Shizuku to make the way for more damage, and she's got an Omni Negate. So obviously with the Block Dragon searches, I can keep going with my combo, right? Like I can keep special summoning, like I can special my Gigantes, and then my Researcher, and then my Seeker, and then from there I can just full on combo out. And even though I don't have a Guardian up anymore, and I don't, you know, my opponent could very easily be playing a second Nibiru, especially given that they're Sky Strikers, or another hand trap like this Effect Veiler that they're about to use on my Block Dragon for some reason. But it's really important in this particular scenario to have a threat and another Omni Negate. And fortunately, Baronne DeFleur can actually do both for us here. So yeah, like I said, they negate my Block Dragon with Veiler for some reason. I don't know if they thought the search was like an on-board effect, but yes, so we were able to sync them into Baronne, who, as I obviously mentioned in great length just now, provides both the Omni Negate and the Destruction on board, and the just raw damage to be able to, you know, secure the game here. So as I mentioned earlier, we get our Block Dragon searches for the Gigantes, the Researcher, and the Seeker, and then yeah, our opponent concedes at this point because they realize, like, you know, with those 3 searches, obviously we can just full on keep comboing. We can even make another Omni Negate later in the form of Borreload Savage Dragon. And they also realize at this point, like, oh shit, even if I draw my second Nibiru or whatever other hand trap I was going to use to stop my opponent from going off right here, they've got the Baronne. Like, they're just going to negate it. So yeah, like I said, I was glad to get at least one game, one game where I was able to successfully summon Baronne. Not only just summon Baronne, but also have her be like very, very useful towards our game plan here. You can see how quickly I made this video, right? Like, I haven't even spent my gems on other packs yet, or any packs period. I bought the new, what was it? Yeah, I bought the new Dual Pass. I went to decks right? I went to Adamancipator, immediately crafted Fleur de Baron, because I already knew. I mean, I did actually look at the contents of the Synchro Pack before I crafted her, just to make sure I was really not interested in opening any of the Synchro Packs for like the Speed Ride or the Stardust stuff, and sure enough, I'm not. So I was like, I'm not going to open that pack anyway. I've got, God knows, you know, enough craft material saved up. I'm just going to craft Baron. We're just going to roll with it, and we're just going to get this video right out. So, yeah, wow, I can't believe I actually managed to get that out. I was convinced here that I was just not going to be able to get this video out in time. I'm like, oh, it's going to have to go out on the 5th, and I'm going to be a day behind, you know, but here we are. We made it. We can breathe now. So, thank you guys very much for watching. As always, I am super duper appreciative of it. Like, you guys have no idea. It really, really does mean a whole lot to me. And also, as you've probably seen me say in my YouTube posts and in the description below, I now have both a Twitch and a Twitter account. So you can find some links to those down there in the description. If you're interested in seeing some more gameplay with Tri-Brigade Zodiac in particular, I have a VOD from my first stream currently on my Twitch channel. That is 3 hours. Well, I mean, more like 2.5, but it's a lot of gameplay. It's a lot of, and I know you guys like the live commentary, so if you like to see a lot of that, then you can go ahead and check it out. And if you want to see my streams live in person, then you're definitely going to want to follow my Twitter, because that is where I will announce when I will be streaming. I'm going to try to do a scheduled, my goal right now is to do a scheduled weekly stream on Friday nights, and then also here and there, if I feel like it, I might just randomly decide to hop on for like an hour or two. So regardless whether it is a weekly stream or a spur of the moment stream, you will be able to find announcements for those on my Twitter. So twitter.com/hexlexygo, twitch.tv/hexlexlive. Okay, so thank you for putting up with me shamelessly plugging myself there. Like I said, I am very much appreciative of you guys, especially if you're watching to the end like this, especially if you're commenting and subscribing, but, you know, don't feel like you have to. I don't want to pressure you. As long as you're here, honestly, and, like, watching the videos, it's more than enough for me. It really does mean the world to me, so, yeah, like I said, that is going to do it. This is Hexlex, signing out, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.